welcome sign says. Welcome. Nice. So as I mentioned, this area established in the 1930s, which is Soweto, and initially every household here was poor class when this place was established, yes, as Soweto. But now you find three classes that are here. So we will start off in working class, and in working class it's those that work professionally qualified jobs, your doctors,
Before I
your
go
nurses.
there, just say why it was created and what it stands for and so on.
Oh, it was designed with the relocation of the black people from the city into this area due to the segregation of apartheid, because apartheid was mainly a rule that believed in a rule by segregation by race. And this area was then designated for black people, and this is where black people were supposed to live, not outside of here. Yes. So along the years now, it has grown into different classes from one class, which was poor class. Now you find working class, middle class, and poor class, where working class is the highest, middle class is average, and poor class being the lowest class. Majority of households, though, in Soweto will be of middle class, which are government-built houses. So we will drive through the different classes so you get a sense of the different classes. Though we won't be able to drive through poor class because there aren't even any roads to drive through poor class in.
And it stands for
And
Southwest.
Soweto stands for Southwestern Township. That's what the acronym abbreviates, Southwestern Township. And the houses here now in working class would range from about 60,000 US dollars to about 150,000 US dollars. With us, that is not cheap, that is quite a lot, because $60,000 would be the equivalent of about 1 million rands. We have a high school here on our left, and all around Soweto you have schools, mainly public schools. There are private, but majority public schools. And in public schools, every class would attend in public schools, where the education. And here is where I would say welcome to the Beverly Hills of Soweto, where it is the working class of Soweto. The houses here quite big and spacious compared to those of middle class, and not even comparable to those of poor class, because a single garage at the house ahead would be bigger than a house in poor class. A single garage here is bigger than a house in poor class.
And generally considered safe to live here.
In a sense, yes, and at the same time, no, depending on which point of view you look at it. For whites, it's not safe to live here at the same time, you see, because there is nothing against white people coming to live here, but you won't find the white people coming to buy property here. This is a black community. You might find a few colored people that will come and buy property here, but this is mainly a black community.
But if colored people live here, would they have any problem with
No.
it?
There isn't such. Where there is racial tensions, no, there aren't any racial tensions, because we do have parts of Soweto where it is colored communities. So people live alongside each other. There are no racial tensions at all. As much as with the religion, we don't have tensions between different religions like Islam and Christianity. There's nothing like that here. People respect each other's religions. And the houses here, some of them will have double garages, some will have 4 or 5 bedrooms, some will have 2 or 3 bathrooms, some with a sitting room, a dining room, plus a study. So they're quite big. And you have a yard here, which means with an approved house plan, you can redesign your house to however you wish it to be. And the yard here would be around 40 by 50 or 40 by 40 square meters, generally.
So what $100,000 house look like? US dollar house. What?
Okay, I'll show you. On our right, we have a Roman Catholic church. Yes. And then up ahead is another school, which is a primary school. So the house coming up at the next left would be a house that you would consider at 100,000 US dollars.
Approximately 100,000 US dollars, guys. Not bad.
Though location also does affect the price of property.
Of course.
In a suburb, you'll find this very same house charged at 5 or 6 times the amount that you would pay for here. So these people that live in this part of Soweto, this area here in Soweto is known as Deep Kloof. Yes? These are the people that seem to be living a good life, a lavish life here in Soweto, because some of them would even have maids in the house. Yes? But the maid doesn't live in the house. They would come 2 or 3 days in the week. Yes? And then some of them will have gardeners that will work their gardens. Yes? Right here in Soweto.
But how they were able to develop, or why there's a gap with them and the other side of Soweto?
Because of the opportunity of education. Not everyone is afforded the opportunity to good education.
Okay, so
some students you find having to attend school, not even having had breakfast, and you would imagine what that does to their concentration in class.
So we can rest assured that this part is maybe like 95% literate?
Certainly. Most certainly. Not knowing their kids, but the owners of the properties would be quite literate. As much as I said, it would be nurses, teachers, lawyers, engineers, doctors, chartered accountants. So you would imagine the education that those people would have. Hence, this is the Beverly Hills of Soweto.
That's so true, because it's so beautiful.
Yes. We have palm trees. Who would imagine that? And some of the plants that we have here are not indigenous to this region. Some of them are imports, even from as far as Australia. And because the climate here allows for them, they do quite well here. So this is quite a porch area of Soweto. If you live in this part, you are living well compared to the other lower classes here in Soweto. And you will see it's only a street that separates the classes, though you won't find tensions between the classes.
Well, that's good.
Yes. Instead, those in a lower class find aspiration from those in a higher class. Yes. And then across on our left will be Deep Kloof Hostel, one of the hostels that were built for the mine workers that were relocated from Johannesburg to this area here. As I mentioned, this used to be a male-only hostel. Currently, it forms part of government housing, so it forms part of middle class. Though the living conditions there, not so good. Of the over 350,000 households in Soweto, you will find that 96% will have electricity and 93% will have proper sanitary toilets and running water. This makes up part of the 7% that doesn't have proper sanitary toilets. Cubicles in there. There's a green cubicle straight ahead with a white roof. Though it's a mobile toilet, there are quite several of them in there. which they all share, where the government tries to have cleaned twice every week or so. For water, you bring a water container to a tap which we all share. The plan was to build duplexes like the one on the side there. And this is as far as it got with the duplexes there on the side.
Which one here?
There, no, there. The there, on the side there, yes, those duplexes. The plan was to demolish the entire hostel and build duplexes like those ones, which is much better living conditions for people here. But because of corruption, this is as far as it got. This is as far as it got. As I say, on the hill there are the shanties, the poor class. Yes. And you will see goats, you will see sheep, you will see cows in Soweto. And these are not wild at all. These belong to someone. And it's people that come from living in the villages and they get here and they continue.
You see I'm getting the shots here?
Yes, yes. That is the shanties. Those are the shanties. That is where I say it is the poor class. And this is how Soweto was when it was first established. These are the houses that you found here in Soweto. These kind of houses. The shanties. And then from the shanties it was the hostel. From the hostel it was the government houses, which I'm about to show you further up ahead. So initially when Soweto was established, those shanties, those tin houses, were the houses that you would have found here, which were the poor class. Houses across, those are the government houses. Some of the earliest built government houses. The hostel was built back in the 1940s, early 1940s, and these government houses were built in the late 1940s. And these houses, it is basically a 4-roomed house. And when I say 4 rooms, doesn't mean 4 bedrooms. 4 rooms would be 2 bedrooms, 1 room which is a dining or a sitting room, and a kitchen. No bathroom in the house, just an outside sanitary toilet. That's it. Yes. And along the years, those who have been able to have renovated the house, because now, of course, they have full ownership of the houses. Whereas before, when they didn't have ownership, the problem was that they would be evicted. So they ended up protesting against that, and they ended up receiving the title deeds to the houses that they live in. If they want to sell the house, they can sell the house and all the money comes to them.
They get full ownership.
Yes, they have full ownership. But now the people here are reluctant to selling the houses. They would much rather pass them on from generation to generation.
Well, it's not bad, it's not bad. I mean, like this, for example.
Yes. Though compared to other parts, this is bad.
Well, what I'm saying, but what I'm saying, if for a guy with a wife and a kid
living in there, yes, you have a roof overhead.
I mean, they have they could do with that, but
it's solid. It's solid.
If you have
but again, now you can't do anything to the structure. You can't change the structure of this. You see, unfortunately, that is the problem with this structure. It's a hostel, so you can't do anything to it. That's why you find growing families in here end up building the shanties. The slums,
right?
You see, of course, with the immigrants, because you also find immigrants living in the townships.
Immigrants,
yes.
okay.
With the last census that was conducted, it estimated Soweto to have a population of just about 2 million people, but that's not a true reflection. The population could be close to 5 million people living here. And there's never really a dull moment in Soweto. There's always a movement of people every time.
So you said they don't have electricity, right?
They do have electricity. 96% of households have electricity. They have electricity.
And water.
And water, yes. Running water. Sanitary toilets, 93%. 93% have proper sanitary toilets and running water. Only 7% doesn't have. Class area. In the middle class area. And then on our left, we will have one of the biggest hospitals in the world, which is known as Chris Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital. And this hospital originally was a British military hospital during the Second Anglo War between the British and the Dutch. After the war, the British then sold the hospital to Johannesburg City Council for $1 million. And it is currently a public hospital where anyone that needs healthcare can come for healthcare.
Free.
For pensioners, healthcare is free. For those that work, they would pay much less than those that work.
Why the name? Why that name?
Chris Hani is one of the popular comrades of the Umkhonto weSizwe struggle. He was actually in line to become a president had it not been that he was assassinated just before our democracy.
Oh, okay.
Yes. He was killed.
And the killer was brought to justice? Or
Yes,
killers?
they were taken to prison, but not so long ago they were released. I don't know if you've heard of Clive Darby Lewis.
No.
Yes, there are documentaries on that.
I will look at it.
Yes. And Killers of Chris Hani. It will show you. One of them passed on, and the one I think is still alive. The hospital has around 3,500 beds in it, and you find immigrants even coming to South Africa just for the healthcare, where South Africa has better healthcare than they would have in their country. Yes, and as an academic hospital, it also gives opportunity to students that are studying medicine to come and do their practicals at the hospital. Yes, and across the hospital is a taxi rank for these minibus taxis, and in the taxi rank, the taxis are in queues. You know this